This is the Rebel Room, a Las Vegas Sun sports podcast. Ray Brewer, Mike Gurmala, talking all things UNLV football and basketball. And Mike, let's be honest, a typical fall around this time. This podcast is all UNLV basketball. Can we get to the dance, baby? And now it's like, basketball, when is the first game? Nobody even knows because football is king. UNLV versus Boise State, arguably one of the games in the history of the program. Friday night at Allegiant Stadium, could be a playoff eliminator, likely is a playoff eliminator, and folks are fired up. It's a good time to be covering the football team, and they think they're going to sell out Allegiant Stadium, and it's going to be crazy come Friday night.
The switch happened so fast between football and basketball that I'm still surprised how quickly it became a football school as opposed to basketball. Now, we say that, but if the basketball team starts out 4-0, they're going to be the kings of the city again, and everybody's going to be hyped about UNLV basketball. But yeah, I was going to start because I feel like we've had this conversation like a half dozen times now in the last 2 years asking, is this the biggest game in UNLV football history? I know we did that for the Air Force game last year, and then it was the Mountain West Championship game, and then it was, I think, the Kansas game where they had a chance to go 3-0 this season, and now we're here. If they beat Boise State, they're probably back in the front runners spot for that playoff spot. If they lose, they're probably eliminated. So, I mean, you tell me. You were the one. You didn't think it was Air. I still think Air Force was the biggest game in program history. I think this probably surpasses it, though.
Yeah, I just having a ranked Boise State team in that, remember, has been kind of the king of your league forever.
Beat you in the title game last year.
Correct. And let's be honest, probably has the best player on the field in a potential Heisman Trophy candidate. You have all this in front of you. Friday night, national TV, holiday, Nevada Day, by the way, right? I mean, what better gift to your state than winning on a holiday, to say the least? It's all right in front of you, and it's just a true testament to this team. I covered the Syracuse game 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks now?
2 weeks, yeah.
3 weeks, or
it was Syracuse, then Utah State, then Oregon State. So 3 weeks ago.
And I just the feeling of, like, I've never been hit in the stomach before, right?
Yeah.
I don't think you have either. Well, you might have. I don't know. When you were a kid.
I make it a point to avoid physical confrontations.
Correct.
If anyone hits me, it's going to be in the back as I'm running away. Okay. I'm not taking any shots to the front.
But I just felt like everybody was deflated after the way the Syracuse game ended, right?
Yeah.
UNLV.
They had it.
They had it. They left. Yeah, they had it. They gave it away. And the noise in the stadium that day was unbelievable, Mike. I've lived through, right, and many of our listeners know, born and raised here, went to UNLV, East Side kid, grew up, my dad had season tickets to UNLV football, went to every UNLV football game. And the losses. I mean, I've seen them play Long Beach State, Pacific, San Jose State, and the old PCAA. Then it goes to the Big West. And I remember when somehow they convinced Wisconsin to come out here and play. And they had to, basically build new bleachers. And I looked out that day, and Wisconsin had all the red on. And you're thinking, wow, look at this. All these UNLV supporters, right? They're going to use these photos in literature moving forward. And just to see the amount of people that love UNLV, right? And it's one thing to love them from a distance, but to be bought in on this university is just unbelievable. And I wrote repeatedly when they moved into the new stadium that Marcus Aurora, the former coach, whose last name I still can't say.
You're good enough.
Good enough. Everybody knows who I'm talking
Aurora.
about.
I call him Aurora at this point.
Yeah, he had a unique opportunity that no other coach in program history had, right? He has the facility to train in, the stadium to recruit to, great city, great university. And if you look at like when Bobby was there, Hauk, right? Crappy lead athletic facility. They weren't even getting their freshmen here until like 2 weeks before the first game. And the investment in UNLV football has been so profound. And to see it matriculate all the way up to UNLV Boise State, one of the games of the weekend in college football is just awesome. And I love the way how Barry Odom's kind of built this team, where he's dipped back in, got some locals who are contributing, right? Has locals on his staff. And then he's gone and he's taken kids from Texas and Arkansas and Texas A&M who were highly recruited 4 or 5-star guys who just couldn't stick at those big schools, but had plenty in the tank and wanted to show themselves for the next level.
Antonio Doyle, former 4 or 5-star Texas A&M, Jacksonville State. All of a sudden he's here. He gets 3 sacks against Oregon State. He had the sack to end the Kansas game. A perfect example of what you're talking about.
Yeah. Ricky White, Michigan State, obviously not Barry's guy, but it's just to the formula that's working for them. And not to toot Barry's horn too much, but you could tell the difference between a guy who was a head coach in the SEC versus guys in their first year being a head coach, period. Because the team is darn organized on game day. You could argue he made a bad coaching move against Syracuse by taking the knee at the end of regulation when they could have gotten to field goal range.
Not taking his timeouts on defense to...
Correct. But I do like the way he explained it, where he was like, listen, we just wanted to hit the reset button, overtime at home, try to get into overtime. I understand that. Do I agree with it? No. The thing I'm worried about, and I know I'm all over the board here, the defense to me still gives up way too much, especially in the passing game. Am I being an alarmist?
It's 2024 college football. Teams are going to throw the ball on you. It's impossible to be like a complete shutdown passing defense. I think they make plays. I think they have some playmakers back there. Woodard's got 4 interceptions. Jalen Catalon's got 4 interceptions. What an addition he's been. That guy's great. Tony Grimes has been good. So I think they're good back there. Are they still going to give up some explosive plays from time to time? Yes, they're much better than they were last year. But I think for Boise, the question is obviously like, are you going to let Gianti run for 300 yards? Or can you hold him to like 160? And then when you do get them into third downs, which is, the name of the game, can you get off the field enough? Can you keep them below, 50% on third downs and at least get them off the field once in a while? Because if you're telling me that Boise's going to have a normal offensive game, I don't know if UNLV can keep up with that. Even with the go-go, even with Hodge Malik Williams. Boise's they've got the Heisman Trophy winner on their team, averaging 10 yards a carry. So if you're saying, can UNLV just keep up with them in a pure shootout, offensive scoring back and forth? I doubt it. But so you're going to need something from the defense, whether it's the passing defense clamping down on third downs or finding a way to get Gianti to keep him from averaging 10 yards a carry, which he does for this season, incredibly. You're going to need something from the defense at some point, throughout this game.
But Boise State is better than UNLV. They have a better player. They beat UNLV last year.
Yeah.
Boise State is coming into this game thinking they're the better team.
Their only loss
UNLV,
was to the number 1 team in the country at their building by 3 points. So Boise's like legit. They're number 15 or 17.
Correct.
The only team they've lost to is the number one. Like they are as legit as it gets for the Mountain West. So yeah, they're favored by I think like 3.5 points.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think most people
they have better players.
Yeah, if we take
and they have the confidence because they beat UNLV last year.
Yeah.
Not just beat them, kind of pushed them around pretty good.
It wasn't a close game.
Correct.
And so you take off the scarlet colored glasses, and I think everyone would agree that Boise State is the better team and deserves to be the favorite coming in, even at Allegiant Stadium, Boise State on the road.
Okay, so quick question for you. Say UNLV does in fact win on Friday.
Okay.
They're going to have to play Boise again.
Well, that's what I thought. Then I saw on Twitter this a few days ago. Someone pointed
let's
out,
get it right. It's on X,
on Twitter /X.
We're here to be accurate.
Someone pointed out that Colorado State is also undefeated in the Mountain West right now, I believe, and they don't play Boise State or UNLV this year. So there's a chance that if UNLV wins this game, Colorado State finishes their slate undefeated. Boise gets shut out of the title game, or vice versa. If UNLV loses this game, Colorado State goes on, doesn't have to play either of the two good teams in the conference, and they manage to win all their games, then it could be Boise State, Colorado State in the title game.
If UNLV loses this game, get a ticket to Albuquerque.
The loser of this game is going to have to hope that Colorado State loses at some point without playing anyone good. It's not a position you want to be in, but so I'm just saying that you continue on with your point. I was just saying that technically the loser does not control their own destiny. You're going to need a little help. It might come, but yeah, continue.
But if the loser of this game, Boise or UNLV, is out of the playoff.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
This is the playoff game.
I cannot see, even if it's Boise State, I cannot see the committee putting in a 2-loss Mountain West team because there's going to be some other group of 5
Army
team
or
that's
Navy,
undefeated or
right?
1 loss. Yeah.
I mean, there's a good chance, just talking out loud, plus we love the service academies. There's a good chance that Army and Navy both win out until they play, right? And the winner of the Army-Navy game could get the 12th seed.
Yeah, so you don't want to have 2 losses at the end of the year.
Correct.
So this is an elimination game. I think most people are framing it that way. It's the game of the year in the Mountain West, obviously, unless there's a rematch in the title game. So,
how does UNLV? So, UNLV. If you talk to anybody who's ever watched an ounce of football, this is you, me, the people listening, anybody. They have to slow down Boise's best player, right?
Probably.
It can't be like when you're playing Kobe or Michael or LeBron, and you're like, we're going to let LeBron get 30, and we're going to contain everybody else.
The problem with the opposite tactic, if you say, like you said, let's let Genty get his and stop slow down everyone else, he averages 10 yards a carry. Yes. You cannot win. If he averages 10 yards a carry in this game, UNLV will lose and it will not be close.
The good news is that UNLV can't defend the pass. They're decent in the run, in my humble opinion.
They're number 25 in the country. I was looking at this for a story that is coming in, going to be published on Wednesday. They're number 25 in the country in run defense. They only allow 3.7 yards per carry, I think. They win into Oregon State, which is one of the better rushing attacks. They were averaging, as a team, 5.7 yards per carry. They had one of the top running backs in the country. And UNLV held them under 4 yards a carry. Their top running back only had 61 yards on 17 carries and never broke a big play. Their run defense is legit. Jackson Woodard is the Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year. He's awesome. Jalen Catalon just was flying around from the safety position. He's awesome. Antonio Doyle is just wrecking people. He's pretty much unblockable.
I totally get all that.
Run defense, they're great.
Yeah, but the second Boise goes back to throw, UNLV's in harm's way.
You think so?
Dude, I watched the Syracuse game. The guy was 12 of 12.
But that's a team that is Syracuse.
There was nobody near any. Michael, I'm telling you right now, it was like they were playing 7-on-7 against ghosts.
Tell you, Syracuse is a team that is
no pass rush, no DBs.
They are built to throw the ball. They're used to throwing it a lot. That's where they're comfortable. That's how they want to play. Boise State, all due respect, I think their quarterback is regular. I don't think it's anything special. I don't think their passing attack is really anything special, except when you've got 9 guys at the line of scrimmage to stop Genty. But I don't think their passing attack is this explosive thing that you have to be so worried about. Just don't let them throw the ball over your head like you did in the Mountain West title game. I think you'll be surprised with how effective they are in pass coverage in this game. If UNLV gets Boise State into some 3rd and longs, I think they can capitalize. Like UNLV's turnover rate, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but in terms of interceptions and turnover rate, they've got to be at the top of the national lists.
They do. They're getting good turnovers. It's just, right, Utah State scored how many against UNLV?
I think they got up into the 30s.
Listen, we are nitpicking right now. I'm still in the camp that the success UNLV's had the last 2 years is so historic and so awesome that for us to sit here and nitpick about their defenses is pretty pedestrian, right? The fact that they're even, able to compete with the best team in the Mountain West is a bonus. Because year after year, they're projected to be the worst team in the league.
UNLV is 2nd in the country in interceptions per game, 2.0. So they got 14 picks. So, I mean, whether or not they are as shut down as you would like, it's a fact that they are making plays. Like, they've got guys out there who can go get the Cameron Oliver is a ball hawk. Jalen Catalon has made some great interceptions. Jackson Woodard gets his hands on it. It seems like every week he's got a chance for a pick. If he had caught that ball against Syracuse, UNLV is 7-0 right now and probably ranked like number 12 in the country.
No, they wouldn't be that high. I mean,
yeah, I'm maybe exaggerating, but
yes.
They'd be, this would be number 15 versus number 18, and College Game Day would be here a day early and all that stuff. So I'm not as low on their passing game, on their passing defense as you are. I do think that if they figure out a way to stop Genty, they will be good enough there to get off the field once in a while.
Do you think so they're trying to go back to how we opened the show. UNLV's really pushing to get a full crowd there.
Yes.
And is that crowd going to make a difference?
I asked Barry Odom that question at the press conference, his weekly press conference on Monday. And the way I framed it was defensive. Because, like, offense, the crowd, when you've got the ball as the home team, the crowd is not really going crazy. They mostly want the crowd to be quiet while you're at the line of scrimmage and calling your plays and all that stuff. So I think will really be a factor, if at all, is on defense, because that's when the crowd is loud. You're trying to drown out the offense, get them to false start, make it tough to hear the signals. And also, the energy just helps more on defense because you're flying around. And the thing that Odom and then Jackson Woodard just kept coming back to over and over and over again was the need to gang tackle. Like, one guy in the hole against Ashton Genty is going to lose, and he's going to run for 20 yards. You've got to get 4 guys in the hole. You've got to get 1 guy to slow him down, 2 guys to make contact, 2 more guys to bring him down. So it's like you've got to get half your team there on every play, rallying to the ball and just playing with energy, not just on the first drive or on big plays, but literally every play of every drive for the entire game. And if the crowd is loud enough to actually, like, infuse some of that energy, that's going to be a big factor. And Odom, actually, I was surprised. I thought he was going to dismiss it and say, no, it's not a factor. We don't need to rely on the crowd. We've got to do it ourselves. But he said, anything the crowd brings, we're going to take it because it helps the defense. They'll be, if it gives them energy to play faster and pursue better, we need that. So Odom seems to think that a big crowd would help them in this game.
Yeah, it's an interesting scenario. We'll both be there. 2-man coverage team for the Sun.
Do you got a formal prediction for this game?
Why are you going to ask me that?
Because it's the biggest game in UNLV history. If it is the biggest game in UNLV history, I feel like I want to know if you think that they're going to win this one.
I'll
go first because I picked them I did my preseason predictions for this team. I had them 6-1 going into this game. I have them winning this game and then winning the next 4 after this and finishing 11-1. And I'm going to stick with that. I think they're going to win this game.
I have the other side. I just think that Boise's got the best player on the field. They have confidence because they've previously beaten UNLV. And like you said, they barely lost to Oregon, the number 1 team in the country.
I think that, I'm a believer in Hajj Malik Williams. The offense has been great since he's taken over. They've got that Hajj magic going right now. Ricky White has been just insanely productive. Wouldn't surprise me if he blocks another punt. The guy seems...
Can't have a slow start, though.
Here's this question that I literally never think about. But UNLV won the toss against Oregon State, and they deferred to the second half. They gave Oregon State the ball first. If you win the toss, I know Boise will be calling it, but if UNLV wins the toss, you take the ball, right? You don't give it to Genty to start the game.
I don't know what you do. I'm not a football coach.
I think Odom and most coaches now defer, but I feel like I wouldn't. I feel like I would want a chance to go down and drive the field before I give the ball to Boise State and this running back. But that's just me. I literally never think about the coin toss ever. But I kind of am for this game just because of what you said. You want a fast start. You don't want to be behind you don't want to be chasing points and letting Boise State, sort of dictate the game. So, fast start definitely. I do think they're going to win. That's just my feeling.
I think it's going to be a close game, and I just, UNLV's talked all year about finishing, right? They couldn't finish last year against San Jose State. They couldn't finish against Boise. Clearly not in the bowl game. This team's not built to play from behind. They need starts quick. I think it's going to be a good game. I have Boise winning. I hope UNLV wins as an alumnus of the school and the show, our podcast's homer. Sooner than later, Mike, we're going to have to talk basketball on one of these shows. So we'll be back soon, folks, to talk Rebel Hoop. But right now it's UNLV Boise. Rebels win, and they maybe control their own destiny to play in the college football playoff. So for Michael, I'm Raymond. Thank you for listening to The Rebel Room, a Las Vegas Sun Sports podcast.